let's talk about some ways to build authentic self-esteem. If you haven't checked out my other video about the 2 different kinds of self-esteem, you can find the link somewhere up here and check that out before watching this video. It's really important that we feel authentic self-esteem if we're going to move forward in life with confidence and resiliency. Before we jump into the content, I think it's really important to recognize and outline that all of us can build authentic self-esteem. It's not for those who just have resources, finances, social whatever. It doesn't matter. You can build authentic self-esteem. Example, when I was younger, I had tremendous social anxiety, which impacted my self-esteem when it came to speaking, making social connections. All of those things were extremely difficult for me. I'm also an introvert, so that doesn't help. But by practicing different skills, different scenarios, by reading a ton of books, I am now able to be on YouTube. I have a high self-esteem and high self-worth because I will not be victimized by what other people think of me or that social comparison piece, which I talk about in the video link above. If we choose to do nothing, nothing will change. Wishing for change isn't the same as doing something constructive to change what's happening for us. So I want you to pause and reflect and think about, what is your why? Why do you want to make these changes? Is your why compelling enough for you to take one small step in terms of building authentic self-esteem? Maybe your why is you don't feel good about yourself. Maybe it's, I want to role model for my children better self-esteem. Whatever the reason is, I want you to think about what is important to you and why you are wanting to make this change and bolster your self-esteem. Once you've done that, we're going to carve out some time. What does it look like? It's also important to outline when in the day you're going to do this. So is it first thing in the morning? Is it right before bed? What does it look like? And how much time can you allocate? It can be 10 minutes or less. And you may think, well, that's not going to change anything, just 10 minutes. It actually is, because if we're not doing anything at all, we're not going to change. So that 10 minutes can make the difference between having a low self-esteem versus a high self-esteem. So let's get into the strategies. Strategy number 1, self-care. Now, you may be thinking, well, I don't have time to go get a massage, or, I have family responsibilities. I don't mean that type of self-care. What I mean is basic caring behavior to yourself. Are you taking care of your nutrition? Are you sleeping on time? Are you taking the time out to exercise and feel good? The reason why these things are important is it regulates your nervous system. If you don't know what I'm talking about, feel free to check out the video linked about nervous system response states that I've made. Once we're in a regulated state, we actually become more motivated and positive about making changes. Our brain wants to protect us. So when we start implementing something new, our brain is like, whoa, 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 what are you doing? We don't do this. And then we get those feelings of procrastination, or that negative inner critic pipes in and says, you know what? No, what's the point? 10 minutes isn't going to do anything. Why are you going to do that? It doesn't make sense. So when we take care of our basic needs, that is the foundation of making more change when it comes to our self-esteem. It also positively impacts our self-esteem because we're showing ourselves that we're worth taking care of. Tip number 2, find an area where you want to bolster your self-esteem. Is it the way that you look? Is it the way that you think? Is it the way you interact with your children? What are the areas where you don't feel worthy or good enough? Pick one area to focus on and start to brainstorm. What can I do in 10 minutes or less to improve this area of life? Is it reading a book in that area? Is it talking to the person that I want to have a better relationship with? Is it Googling some questions? Figure out which area you want to work on when it comes to self-esteem. There's a saying that I really like called name, tame, and reframe. All of us walk around with an inner critic that tells us really negative things about ourselves. It makes us question our skills and abilities, and it keeps us stuck. So when we can name what that inner critic voice is telling us, we can actually tame it and start to protest it. And then we can start to reframe it. So if that inner critic is saying, hey, you're not good enough, you're never going to lose the weight, we can name it out loud. We can then say, actually, I'm making the steps to go and do this. So we're taming it. And then we're going to reframe it. I'm going to dedicate 10 minutes a day to going for a walk, which will help me reach my goal. So naming, taming, and reframing can be very helpful when it comes to increasing our authentic self-esteem. Using positive affirmations or mantras can also be very helpful to reframe the thoughts that we have about ourselves or those automatic negative thoughts that come into play when we're looking to do something new. So this can take 1 minute or less. Have it on a sticky note, have it somewhere around your house where it's visible, and just recite saying that positive affirming statement. Maybe it's, I am worthy of love and connection. Maybe it's, I am going to lose the weight and be successful. Whatever you choose to have on your sticky note, make sure that a visible place where you can repeat that statement, even if it doesn't feel authentic at first. What you're doing is you're rewiring the neural pathways in your brain to adopt a new positive thought. If you'd like to learn more about affirmations and deconstructing limited beliefs, I'll link a video below that talks about how to do that. It's also really important to practice self-compassion. We're trying to rewire habits that have been ingrained for a really long time. And so sometimes, yes, we're going to stumble along the way, but as we continue to practice and carve out that time every day, we're going to get better and better, which is going to increase our authentic self-esteem. If you'd like to learn more about self-compassion and how that can help us build authentic self-esteem, watch this video next.